welcome back to my channel. If you're new, hi, hello, my name is Kim. I go by Kimberkiss here on YouTube. It might sound a little funny when I talk. I had a root canal done and I'm still in a little bit of pain. Currently on an antibiotic and anti-inflammatory at the moment, so just bear with me. Before I get into this reading, it's very imperative for me to note and to make you all aware that that coming upon Easter, that is, coming upon us, there has been a huge rush and influx of knowledge and messages being communicated and channeled to me, not only from my higher divine beings of light, not only from Jesus and Mary Magdalene, but also all of my soul family members. And it's been this huge influx of Christ consciousness and knowledge and wisdom and insight. And I have to talk about this before I get into the reading because it's quite essential. There is a book that I'm currently reading called The Divine Union, and I'll insert it here and who it's by. I'm about halfway through it, but even before being presented with this book from a soul family member, my Mary Magdalene books were calling out to me to read, like very imperatively. And I only got through the first few pages one night, one evening, and so much insight had been just instantly awakened and brought to my awareness and consciousness that I had to make that aware before I'm doing this reading, because it's very essential in understanding the waves of consciousness that are flooding in right now, and just like the energies and the emotions and the knowings of how to heal, how to be a higher ascended being, how to connect with higher divine consciousness, and how to trust in the messages that you are receiving. Because when it is so coincidental to the point where it is only synchronistic, because that is all that there is synchronicity, you have no choice but to basically recognize what it is for what it is. And with this influx of knowledge and energies coming in and emotions, it's very imperative that I put this message out there before I get into the reading, because there is a divine purpose to me sharing this right now. And there's a divine reason why this information and why these frequencies and why these codes and messages have been presented to my conscious awareness in the precise timing that it has, in the divine alignment that it has, leading up to Easter, leading up to Jesus's crucifixion. It all makes so much sense. And now I understand why I was being drawn to the Mary Magdalene books and why I've been presented with other books from soul family members that had no idea of the information that I was already being presented with. And the reason for this that I just recently found out was that in actuality, Mary Magdalene and Jesus Christ were actually twin flames. They were in a divine union. They were twin flames. They were half of each other's soul combined into one soul. They were one soul. And it's why they could communicate telepathically. It's why they knew what the other was thinking. It's why one was more spiritually advanced, teaching the other, and then the other one, Jesus, going off to learn from the mystery schools that he knew he had a divine mission that he was told to through his angels, through his higher beings of light, through God himself, through his mother, through his father. Everybody knew that was in close proximity to him, the divine plan. And so he went off to mystery school to learn those things, but he was originally taught the essence of spirituality through the divine goddess, through Mary Magdalene. And then he went off to learn, came back and taught Mary what she had seemingly forgotten, and new things that he had learned that would help the whole greater plan emerge into the ascension and the awareness and the forgiveness of our sins, and the knowing that the light body does go on after death, that the light body does ascend, that we are eternal beings just having a temporary human experience, and that we have so much power within knowing the power that we are, the infinite souls that we are. And that was the ultimate lesson that he came to show, that he came to spread. And upon this, I mean, in just doing basic readings for clients leading all the way up to this, I've been receiving messages, they've been receiving messages, and it all coincides and leads up to that divine period of ascension, that divine total knowing and enlightenment that the soul never does die. Okay, it is eternal. And what you are able to see is sometimes not always the whole picture. Even when you are brought to the awareness of the full picture, sometimes it doesn't click into place till afterwards. So just another message coming through, and I had to share it, and it might resonate, it might not. Just take what resonates. Always trust your gut, always trust your instinct, only trust what resonates for you, as everyone is so divinely different. Within each soul is a divine unique thumbprint, a blueprint, a template, but we are all connected as one. And that is why I feel this message will really resonate for those of you who understand and have already been tapping into this consciousness or receiving messages. And if you didn't understand why, maybe this will help to bring some comfort in knowing that this is why you've been receiving those messages, or these energies, these frequencies, these emotions, these memories, these awarenesses. And so I had to reiterate that before I get into the reading, because it's just a very divine union to the highest degree. And what was told of their story wasn't actually told in the necessary way that it was meant to be told. And same with stories all throughout history. Are they ever told truthfully, or is it a game of telephone? And those who receive the higher consciousness power or knowledge and enlightenment, do they become selfish and greedy and want to hold that knowledge for their own and control what the masses know? Essentially, yes, I think that's how it is. But not always. But in this case, I feel a lot had not been delivered in the way and authentically the way that it should have been. It was manipulated. It was put in the way in where the people are suppressed of their power. Because the less that we know, the less power that we can hold. But on a mass scale, there are enlightenments and awakenings happening every single second, every single day. We are very intuitive beings because we are souls. We are cosmic souls. And so for them to think that they could have control over the knowledge that we know, when we are intuitively intuitive beings who would find out sooner or later, this knowledge is coming into our awareness because it's the divine timing that it's supposed to be made to our awareness, just like the divine plan with Jesus's crucifixion and ascension. It's all in divine alignment. It was all part of the bigger plan and mission. And as starseeds and as light workers and love warriors, or whatever label you want to put on it, we are here to literally uplift the frequency of the planet, the frequency of all the beings on Earth, and to literally unite every living being and to bring our Earth into a higher ascended state of awareness and consciousness and love, because that was the way it was always meant to be. But we had to learn. We had to go through the darkness to learn the light. We had to go through the light to learn the darkness. We had to bring balance to all of it. And again, this message has been coming in over and over and over again, and how to heal and how to love unconditionally and how to trust your intuition and channel divine consciousness. And it's all a part of it. So I had to get into that before I get into this reading. But if you've been receiving messages like this, even if you haven't, it's just an important message for me to put out there. And please do not judge, just take it how you will, trust what resonates and bypass what doesn't. If it doesn't resonate for you, it doesn't mean that you have to take it as verbatim. It doesn't even mean that you have to bring it, into your perceptive awareness. But I just wanted to bring it to the forefront for those that are relating to the information, that resonate with it, and that would receive activations through this, because I am an activator. This is what I do. I was born on a Mayan activation portal day. So I am a divine galactic activator. I have come into the realization and responsibility of this, and that is why I'm putting that message and these codes and these frequencies and activations out there for you, so that way you can receive them in, I guess, not so much of an overpowering way, to where it's more easily and steadily integrated into your light body, into your conscious perceptive awareness, so that way it is not too much, but is enough to know what we are headed into. So I hope that makes sense. And the twin flame dynamic between Mary and Jesus, if that's what you resonate with and you trust that message, of course, was a love like no other love, but it was all the same love, all the same. So it's important. There's an emphasis here, and I had to go into that before I get into this reading. There's a lot more that has been presented to me. There's a lot more that will be presented to me, and I feel the same for you. So just trust what you receive, write down what you receive, date it, and then in due time, when the timing is right and you want to fall back onto your notes or look at the dates, trust the numbers, trust the patterns, trust the synchronicities. Everything will fall into place as it should. I'm just here as a messenger, as an activator, and as one who reads into the higher dimensional states of awareness and consciousness and the collective and beyond. Here to provide this information and to make it aware, or to activate it within your frontal consciousness, your third eye consciousness, your crown consciousness, and your soul. So the twin flame dynamic is so divine, and theirs was a divine union, and so it's very important, and I just had to get that message out there. And so without further ado, I'm going to pull some cards for what the collective is going through right now with these, not only energies, but your own divine twin flame situations and methodologies and activations. So give me a minute while I tune in. Many of you have divine missions here. I would say all of you just being here is the divine mission. But some of you have bigger things that you know of that you'll be going into. Some of you know the importance but are not quite sure what those things are yet. And some of you will be becoming aware of this within the next few years, if not already. So trust what you receive. Write things down to ground them. And just know that this is normal. Four of Wands. It's like, yeah, we're waiting for the enlightenment and the burst and final awakening of knowledge to be released. Within this Four of Wands, we have a man and a woman in divine union looking towards the volcano, just waiting for it to erupt. We have the divine balancing of both energies, and if you look, they're tuned into their emotions with the portal of the moon. They are in sync with one another. They have fully surrendered with one another. They have made their home, their marriage, their connection, it's all divine, and it's instantly lined up, and they're looking to the volcano that is about to erupt. They're also within this resemblance and the symbology of looking at this volcano. What would you see but that of a mountain? And what does the mountain represent? It represents a very strong, sturdy foundation, one that could not be moved by air, one that could only be opened up through a divine force of light, fire, which would represent enlightenment. Okay, so this is how a lot of divine unions are feeling at this time, where they're just waiting for this burst of enlightenment to come through, this burst of frequencies, synchronicities. It's kind of been leading up to this, and so I just had to reiterate that. But tapping into water, tapping into mountains, and tapping into the moon is very, very important at this time, and it might sound silly, but it is quite not. Because when you tap into water, you are receiving all cellular memory that Mother Earth has had since the beginning of the birth of Mother Earth being here. When you're tapping into mountains, you are tapping into the grounded energy, the solidarity of the foundation of the earth, the peaks, the highs, the lows, and trusting all of it. The circumference of the mountain, understanding the totality of the mountain and what it represents, the majestic, magical components of a mountain, of a volcano, understanding both the beauty and the danger that it represents, which could be ultimately viewed as both like the divine representation of the union, but its ultimate destruction if things aren't balanced in an emotional way. Here with the moon, okay? What does the moon control? The moon also controls waters. And what do two twin flames hold at the deep core of their essence that they have within this picnic basket here? The mission. Okay, so there's a divine mission, there's a greater plan, and even just for each soul individually, but each soul individually together is one. So it's understanding that full trinity of not only Father, Son, Holy Ghost, which would represent the Father, the Mother being the Holy Ghost, and the Son, representative of Jesus, but it's also the Holy Trinity of the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the soul as the flame, as the higher connectivity to source and that ultimate understanding of the bigger picture. So I hope that made sense. I hope I'm not blabbing too much, but I need to just channel and let it through. I keep getting the message about the Emperor rising and the Empress rising, so God/goddesses rising, coming into their full potential and trusting all that is. I keep seeing the spiral as well, the Star of David as well, the Merkabah representing the light body that ties in with Jesus's ascension. I'm getting messages about portals. I'm getting messages about vortexes here on the earth. I'm getting messages about grid work, and not just grid work on the earth, but grid work on the higher earth, grid work on new earth, or the higher ascended visualization and knowing of the higher dimensional plane that we are ascending into. Okay, so it's higher etheric grid work. It's like, it kind of always is, but it's like we have the knowledge now that we are working in the etheric realms. We are still working here on earth physically, yes, but we understand more and more, and it's being shown to us that the power lies within the etheric healing, within the etheric knowing, within the etheric trust, where we send our light body out to do what it's needing to do, and it's all in divine alignment. The Hierophant, okay, yeah, trusting what is being written because it was already divinely written, okay, and telling your own story, which can be very, very scary and vulnerable to do, but I feel like you're going to get more comfortable with this and sharing certain things about your personal life or what you have gone through leading up to your awakening, leading up to the knowledge that you have acquired. And I feel like this is for both of you, and I feel like you both are very intensely studying or will be studying very ancient knowledge, and you already hold this. You're just simply accessing it. I'm seeing a lot of automatic writing. I'm seeing a lot of light language. I'm hearing it. I'm feeling a lot of symbols being passed telepathically, messages, and it can feel overwhelming, and it is overwhelming, but it's beautiful. And there's a divine reason and accordance with the Hierophant, accordance to this, okay? To change with this. We have the Eight of Swords. If you look, this almost to me represents the crucifixion. It's like being oppressed for your gifts, being burnt for your gifts, being ultimately destroyed for the gifts that you hold in order to teach a bigger lesson. And you have gone through so many trials and tribulations throughout your life to literally bring you to the point that you are at now. So that way you have the confidence in knowing that any challenge that comes your way, you have already gone through it. And for those that are experiencing those exact same challenges now, you have the capacity to heal, to comfort, and to show compassion and sympathy where they may need it the most. And the reason that you went through these things and the divine accordance that you did, the divine timing that you did, is so that you can be there as a support, just like they were there for Jesus, okay? Mary, Elizabeth, they helped him through the Ascension. His own mother, Mary, helped him through the Ascension. So it's all in divine accordance and trusting. Trusting when you're going into the unknown, trusting the messages that are coming through. And this is for each other. So when you receive knowledge, of course, simultaneously they will be receiving intuitive hits on that knowledge. But it's important that you communicate that knowledge with each other, because it helps to activate further towards the higher mission. And it just helps the process. It eases the process. Okay. Yeah, we have the Death card in reverse. Huge rebirthal. It's like digging yourself out of the ultimate depths that you had put yourself into. You had to do this so that you could come out of the darkness and see the light through the end of the tunnel, which is that of your soul. Remembering that of your soul, remembering who you are, why you're here. Trusting the messages, trusting the animals, trusting the earth, what messages they're providing. Trusting all that is playing out right now in this time that we're in. Why everything feels so off kilter. Why everything feels exactly against the way that we ultimately know in our truth of truths, in our heart of hearts, the way that it was always intended to be. And so trusting that intuition, that knowing, that love, that unconditional love, and crawling out of your own prison that you put yourself in to come into your ultimate realization of your own enlightenment. And having awareness of this enlightenment and almost like being very proud of the challenges that you have overcome and celebrating that. It's time to celebrate that. Even though it doesn't feel like it's time to celebrate that, even though many people are going through these lower frequency timelines, and this is everyone. We are all going in and out of these loops of time in order to bring it all together, to heal it, right? Heal the light, heal the dark, heal the in-between, heal the higher frequencies, heal the lower frequencies, merging them into divine accordance. But it's imperative that you are very trusting in yourself and in your partner to understand why all is playing out as it had. Especially in yourself. The more you can trust in yourself, the more you can hold that light and shine it out, the more you can trust your own intuition. Not only does this help yourself and every living being on this planet, the whole collective consciousness, but it's helping your partner too. It's helping them to see. It's helping them to receive messages telepathically through their third eye, through their crown, through their light body, through their physical body, through their soul. It is helping them to further their knowledge, to grow a trust and knowing within their own soul and intuition and their mission. So it's very, very important, but I'm seeing a lot of rebirthals here and climbing out of the darkness that one had put themselves in. And like I said, this was all divinely done this way, so that way you could overcome your own weaknesses that you view as weaknesses, which were simply just lessons that you took on to learn here while you're here. Because ultimately that's the purpose for your growth. Another Four of Pentacles. Okay. So I'm getting for the divine feminines, this could be the divine masculines as well, take it how it resonates. I'm getting blockages here when it comes to channeling, or not trusting oneself, not trusting the messages that are coming through, or receiving them in an unbalanced way. And what that means here is when you receive these higher dimensional influxes of codes and knowledge and activations and light, it can be very overwhelming, not only in your mental capacity, but also in your physicality as well, your physical body. It can be, because what you're doing essentially is you're opening yourself up to receive source, God, light codes to activate you further. And you're receiving all that in. And your body has to adjust to that. Your mind has to adjust to that. The soul already knows. The soul is pretty chill. The soul is always expanding and growing, but the soul already knows. It's just the mind has to adapt. The physical body has to adapt. And it can feel like a lot. So sometimes the divine feminine will somewhat block some of the frequencies or messages coming through. This could also be the divine masculine. But what they're showing me is to trust your own antenna, to trust your own way of channeling information, of consciousness, of light, to trust the way that you've always done it and to continue doing so, because you're not doing anything incorrectly. Just be aware that when you feel these influxes coming in and they seem overwhelming, that you can take a step back and allow yourself to receive it. Okay, you don't have to ultimately act on it. You can allow it to settle in. Also, allowing it to flow through. Sometimes it gets very, very overwhelming to the point where it's like we become anxious in receiving it because it's so much higher dimensional frequency all at once, and it can feel very overwhelming. But they're wanting the divine masculine or the divine feminine to understand that you can pace yourself with the frequencies that you're receiving. You can ground yourself, you can meditate, and anytime that you want. And to make your own schedule and way of doing this is highly important. And also getting into close proximity of water, as we do have the waterfall here and the water here. It's very important. This message has been coming through for quite some time now, but the water, like I said, holds a higher conduit way of connecting through electricity and light. So why is it that we have lightning within thunderstorms? Because the clouds are full of precipitation and the electricity flying through the air is making lightning. So it activates our electricity body as well. It affects our light body. It's a conduit. And so when we get closer to water, I think not only does it ease because it's more of a flow, it's more of a peaceful energy. It's not like an explosion like a volcano, right? And so when we connect with water, we are able to ease into the downloads that we're receiving. We're able to ease into the codes that we're receiving. They flow more naturally because water, like I said, is a natural conduit. And water in itself holds its own consciousness. So it's able to kind of bounce off of ours and simultaneously kind of hold that like reassurance almost in a sense, to where we can feel more comfortable in channeling and not so overwhelmed. It kind of balances it out, is what I'm feeling. And then with the King of Wands in the upright, it's like this person, and I'm getting divine masculine here. This person kind of ignores their intuition sometimes, just as, you know, the divine feminine can. But he ultimately understands that something greater is happening in the future, which again, we are coming out of this understanding that time, you know, really doesn't exist. Everything coincides simultaneously all at once. But while we're here on this lower dimensional 3D plane of conscious awareness, we ultimately view things on a linear scale as to where the future is what's coming up when it's already been done. But they're becoming aware that something is to occur in the future. They're a little like on guard almost, and a little like hesitant in a way. And this is kind of distracting them from connecting to their intuition. And what Spirit is wanting you to know, Divine Masculines, is that it's highly imperative at this time that you really connect into your intuition, that you really take time to sit with yourself, even if it's just a few minutes a day, to ground, to connect to Mother Earth, to allow your crown to open up to receive the cosmic influxes of light and consciousness and downloads, because it's not something to be forced, but it is something to be respected. It is something to be valued, and it goes along with self-worth. When you're respecting yourself to open up to all that is, you're allowing this cosmic consciousness to come through to help you further along your path, to help you further along your mission. So they're really wanting the Divine Masculines right now to not put it off, to not ignore the reasons why they're feeling called to connect into their inner selves or their higher selves, however it is that you do, to really trust that, to meditate, to really sit in silence and connect to all, because it's really important at this time. And to not get so anxious with future events, timelines, thoughts, because these are all of a mental capacity that the brain does not quite understand at this time yet. So once you can get past the mind and understand that there's a train, so sign from Spirit, this is a very important message. When you connect to your higher self, to Source, to yourself, which is that of Source, it allows yourself to open up to receive all that is being needed to receive at this time, instead of neglecting it, instead of neglecting yourself, because essentially that's what you're doing, is when you neglect the divine to come through. So they're just really wanting you to please, if you are able to, a few minutes a day to meditate, to silence the mind, to ground to earth, to connect to yourself, to connect to your higher self, and just allow the peace of the universe to flow through you. Because what you're doing when you're just sitting in silence, you're ultimately opening up to the all, and that is what is wanting to come through at this time for you. So that's what they wanted me to tell you. And we have the Sun card. See, so when you do this, when you're not doing this, what you're ultimately doing is you're crucifying your light body. You're crucifying yourself. You're only hindering yourself. You're hindering your knowledge. You're hindering your growth, your healing, your alignment. But when you open up and you allow the sun to channel through, right, the higher frequency codes of light, the ultimate multiverse, to flow through that consciousness, it ultimately helps you to naturally just be in your state of bliss, your state of awareness and happiness. So it's really important that the Divine Masculines especially also trust the messages that the Divine Feminine are relaying to them or telling them, because a lot of them are hesitant at this time, and that's a normal human thing. And we all are like that, sometimes, where we feel hesitance when it comes to trusting the messages, or almost like not wanting to hear what we know is right. But they're wanting you to trust the messages that the Divine Feminine is presenting you with at this time, because it will help ultimately towards everything. And everything is just going to happen in divine accordance. So it's not something that you feel like you have to control. It's just be more accepting and aware of what is being presented, and don't always, I guess, discount it or make it seem like, don't fluff it off. Basically, don't, not pay attention, because it's being presented for a reason, and to trust that knowledge more. A lot of Divine Masculines are feeling like time is just like flying by, like time is just passing by, and they can't get a hold on their life, or they can't get a hold on their thoughts or their frequencies or their emotions. And Spirit is coming through very, very strongly right now, letting you know, like, time in your perceptive awareness is not what you believe it to be. Time is never what the mind believes it to be, ever. Time is ultimate ultimately just a state of presence. It's a state of peace. It's a state of silence and relaxation. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that, is what they're saying. Nine of Pentacles. Nine breaks down to 333. 9 is also a completion, and it's interesting to me how we have the 9 leading into the 10. The 9 is completion, the 10 is completion and rebirthal all at the same time. This person is coming out of their own, like, prison that they put themselves in. That's the message I keep getting. Like the prison that you had put yourself in, or the self-sabotage that you had put yourself in, you're now seeing the light out of that. You're now seeing the way out of that, and you're merging. And you're merging not only from that dark space of the dark night of the soul, or the prison, or the soul searching even. I mean, the soul searching never ends, as a seeker would know. But you're merging out of your own pool of water, your own well, because this is you're merging out of your own well. This is a well. This is a portal. You're emerging from the portal of your soul with all of your conscious awareness represented by the water that is all around you. And you fear nothing. You literally are holding the strength of Christ in knowing that you're going through this death and rebirthal process, and you are fearless. You fear nothing. There is nothing that you need to fear anymore. You have this divine enlightened state. And of course, these states and these cycles and these awarenesses will continually repeat themselves over and over and over again until they are strategically learned in a divine consciousness way. But you are ultimately coming out of this persecution, per se, with the advanced knowledge that you hold, with the understanding of the strength that you hold, and this unwithering confidence to where you fear nothing. There is nothing you fear. So you're coming out of this, and it's really, really beautiful, and you have a lot to share with the world, and this is part of your rebirthal. Will be sharing this knowledge, sharing this courage, because your frequency alone from this death period, from this persecution period, coming into your own light, your own enlightenment, you're trusting all the consciousness that you have received thus far, and you're merging from your own waters. Trusting your emotions, trusting your intuition, trusting the knowledge that you've learned thus far, the knowledge that you've learned through all of your lifetimes leading up to now, in this presence of now. You are ready to emerge and to teach and to just be in your own frequency. And this is ultimately like your own baptism, your own birth. You're birthing yourself from your own waters. It's your own rebirth. Okay? Does this want to come out? Knight of Pentacles. Really trusting what is being channeled through, as we have 2 books represented here and 2 women, which is showing me that the divine feminine, you are such divine channelers. You do automatic writing. You channel higher collective consciousness. You channel higher intuitive consciousness. You channel higher source consciousness. You channel collective consciousness. And it's really asking you to trust that gold coin you got stuck there in your pocket. That's your own worth, that you see as your value, to trust your own value, to trust your own consciousness that is being shown to you in order for you to reflect on it and reflect it outwards. Okay, so it's like the divine mirror occurring here. It's almost like the twin flame dynamic is occurring through the consciousness downloads and then being reflected and refracted outwards into the collective consciousness through just your own divine frequency, but also you sharing this knowledge, and you're trusting that. You're starting to trust that because now you have learned a way to channel it in a way that you trust, because you're fully in your own trust at this time. You're very sure of what you're here to do. Even if you're not perfectly clear on what you're here to do, you are sure that the mission is of the utmost importance. And you are sure, you're very assured of yourself that the knowledge that is coming through is divine and is meant to be shared. And you are ready and you are strong and you are willing to share this with the world. And of course, it won't be maybe as dramatic as it seems in the way that I'm speaking now, because the words that I'm speaking now are meant to activate you to your ultimate destination of your own pertinent mission. But what else is coming through is that you have to stand strong, you have to stand grounded, and you have to allow these things to unfold in their natural way. And I feel like these things will be happening more and more, little by little, and it's really asking you, divine feminines, to not get off path and to keep trusting what is being presented and to share it. So it won't be, like I said, a huge thing like in the beginning where I mentioned the volcano erupting. We already had that experience. We already have those experiences where the enlightenment is just simply blossomed and expressed within our consciousness to where we've had our awakenings. And if we had not, we wouldn't be here listening to this reading, would we? So ultimately, everyone who is watching at this time has already experienced in one shape or form a form of awakening, even if you weren't consciously made aware of it. And sometimes these awakenings aren't as extravagant and as extreme as people make them out to be, and they sure as heck can be. They sure can be completely life-changing and a huge moment, just like a volcanic explosion, a tsunami, a wave of knowledge coming in, a whole influx of light, a whole new way of being. But these things are progressing in their own time, and I'm sure everyone who is tuning in has had some sort of aha moment, has had some sort of wave of light increase within their body, because you wouldn't physically be able to be anchored into the earth at this time without having had those things. So it's just a reassurance and validating and knowing and enlightening you, if you have not been aware, that yes, you have received awakenings, and yes, you have received higher consciousness downloads, and even if you weren't consciously aware that you had had these, they have occurred. So it's just activating you and letting you know that these things have happened, and then to trust whatever else is coming through or will be coming through, because I feel like with me being a galactic activator, and not just that, it's the codes that are emerging through this reading at this time that are meant to come through, that are meant to open your mind to something more, to expand your perception, or to change your perception, or to allow you to open up your mind further. They're coming through for a divine reason, and the more that you can trust or allow your own intuition to come through, the easier the transition will be. And sometimes these things do come through unconsciously, subconsciously, in the dream time, when you're ultimately connected into where we go or where we came from. And then you're reawakened into the lower density plane, which would be represented by day and night. So it's this ultimate understanding of duality, why things are the way they are, and the knowing within our truth of our soul and trusting that, okay? And these awakenings have occurred. And so Spirit really wants to reiterate that to you, those who have doubted yourselves in the past, those who don't believe they've had awakenings, or feel that maybe they're not on the same spiritual level as everyone else. Like, we are all on our own divine paths, but you simply would not be here tuned into this reading, or even on the earth anchored in right now at this time, if you had not gone through one of these things. So it's just really reiterating that. But also know that the awakenings that will be occurring from here on out may get more intense, yes, but they can also be subtle. And when they're subtle, sometimes the human mind, the egoic mind, is left confused as to why am I feeling these emotions at this time? Why am I going through all these physical things? Why is my body struggling through this awakening process? And these are all normal human things that we signed up for before we came here, to learn and to grow and to merge with the ascension of the earth, and to trust all that would be presented to us in order to help us to witness it all. Okay, and so these awakenings will be happening more and more, and like I said, some will be more subtle, and sometimes when we're left confused as to why we're experiencing all these things, say you go by the Schumann resonance, and the Schumann resonance that day has no, you know, up peak or low peak or blackout or shine through, and you're confused as to why you're experiencing this. You check your astrology chart, there's nothing there. You check the stars, the alignments of the planets, you don't see anything significant. You check your Mayan kin, and there's no, you know, like extreme significant day. Well, everything in your life is significant, and every waking moment of every single second and nanosecond and a piece of awareness, if you just being present now, is significant. But when these things, and you know, you're checking everything outside of yourself, it's asking you to go within and trust that there is probably an awakening or some sort of transformational process that you signed up to go through at that time is what's taking place, and to allow yourself to be reacclimated to that. And if it is something that is outside of your normal comfort zone, then to, of course, you know, always seek professional help, whether that's through a doctor or whoever else, but to ultimately understand that there doesn't have to be a divine cosmic alignment or a portal day or a Schumann resonance breakthrough to experience these subtler awakenings. They can happen that way, and you don't have to always go looking outside of yourself. Just simply trust your own, you know, ups, peaks, downs, and the way that you and your body and your soul integrate into it. So that was kind of a very long explanation, but Spirit wanted me to express that, and also trust the purity of you, trust the purity of your soul. I feel as empaths, you have the tendency to allow a lot of things to influence your outer and inner reality, and to just simply trust you and do what you feel is right is another huge message. Let's see. Okay, yeah, Six of Cups, definitely reiterating that, because what Six really represents is just a time to just chill. It's a time to pause. It's a time to take a break. It's a time to really reassess yourself and to celebrate yourself. Not only that, but to ultimately get back into touch with who you are and to sit in your own energy. And what they're representing here with the Six of Cups is for you to tap back into your emotions, okay? And filling back up your cups. So self-care and trusting the emotions that are flowing through, trusting the guidance that you've been receiving, but just trusting your own energy and your own waters. I mean, there's so many things that you can do when it comes to water. And I do know that I've had a past lifetime in some sort of water world. There's many different explanations of this. There's, you know, the history of the lost civilization of Lemuria, the lost civilization history of Kandam, of Mu, of Atlantis, of Mintaka, of Sirius, of the Pleiades. I mean, there's many of these water worlds that coexist simultaneously. But in our linear way of perception, they have already progressed and gone through from the past. But we still have, obviously, the ability to tap into that consciousness and to bring back those ways of knowing and trusting that cosmic guidance that they held so effortlessly, that we are trying to remember and get back to now. But being from there, it was a very divine connection with always all that is, but a lot of it was water, and a lot of it was energy, And a lot of it was energy work and emotions. And there's so much power in one emotion that it literally has the ability to affect your physicality, your physical body. So it's really wanting you to really take note of where you're being too harsh on yourself, where you're not giving yourself enough credit, where you're not doing the things that you know you should be doing, in however way that is perceivable to you. But to take time to really sit with this influx of knowledge and codes being delivered and emotions that are being expressed not only through yourself, but also with your partner. And it's going to be pertinent that you both take time for yourselves to allow this information to be processed and these waves of light to be processed and your emotions to be processed in the way that is comfortable for you. So it's just a, kind, gentle reminder to get back into touch with yourself, to listen to yourself, to really connect back to your emotions and allow them to, come up. If you need to cry. If you need to scream, if you need to call someone and express the love that you have for them, I don't care who it is, friend, parent, mother, guardian, brother, sister, lover, whoever the case may be, to do so. If you're feeling called to in the moment and you're feeling like your intuition and you've connected into it and you're feeling like it's the right thing to do, to trust that, okay? So just a lot of messages coming through, but to really trust the emotions, because this helps you to get back onto track with who you've been missing, which is yourself. Okay, so let's see this card flew. Okay, so this is like the Jesus card to me. Whenever I get this card, I always think of Jesus, because just look, it's ultimate power, it's ultimate knowing. You hold the gold, your crown is activated, it can't be held down or constricted by a crown of thorns, even if the physical 3D places torture on you and you view this place as a very torturous place. Your soul ultimately understands that this is something that you chose to go through, and to trust your higher self and to trust your inner knowing and awareness, and to be so confident in that awareness, right? Because how can you not be? How can you allow others to tell you to not be confident in your own self when you already know your own self? Therefore, it can't even be done. Do not allow that to even be a manipulation tactic that they use against you. Be so self-assured in your truth and in your own soul, which I feel most everyone is, to really trust that. And do not allow anything outside of yourself to waver you from your path or waver you from the intuition and knowledge that you receive, and to trust the guidance, because they will try to tie you up. And this is so interesting that I received this whale card with a net that it's actually very divine. A friend of mine had actually channeled a message for me about doing a healing for the dolphins and the whales, because in Asia there is a place where they capture dolphins with nets and whales and kill them for food and blubber and all different kinds of things. But it's so interesting. It's flying off my table. It's so interesting that this is being presented to me at this time, because it really does, validate that message. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. When you receive these messages from others, because we are all connected to the all, to really trust what is being presented to you, because it wouldn't have been presented to you in the first place. And when it resonates with your soul, when you can be very trusting of the activations that you receive upon messages that actually resonate for you, to trust that and to know it to be true. And so I did do a healing etherically for that. It was a whole process that I went through with my light body and traversing there through bilocation, through the etheric third eye, into the higher etheric plane, and literally putting out a healing through light language and through just consciousness and light. And so I know things will be okay. And it's so interesting because this woman here is literally rescuing this whale from the net, putting her hand up to its third eye pretty much, and whispering to it through her telepathy. And how do, animals that are under the water, how do they communicate? They communicate with their like sonar or vibrations of frequency. But that ultimately is what telepathy is. Because we are electric beings, and when we communicate with our minds, which are a whole electrical system, and we're putting those thoughts out with the intent to connect to another, it's like a computer system. It's like one piece of the computer connecting and complying to the other piece of the computer, and then it's able to do its duty, its job. And it's that kind of just knowing that the inner workings of how telepathy actually works is an understanding that you will be coming into more and more, and then trusting that and knowing that and being able to advance that as well, not only with your partner, and not only with your soul family members and source itself, your light beings, your ancestors, your team of light, your guides, whatever label you want to give it, but you're also going to be able to do this more and more with the nature on the planet, because like I said, we have received an up-leveling to where the veil is thinner now. This I know for a fact. And to where you're going to be able to understand Mother Earth more. You're going to be able to understand the frequencies of the animals more, and they're going to understand you more. And you may be sent places etherically that don't make sense at the time until afterwards, and then it's the aha moment afterwards, or maybe it's the aha moment before or during, but for me it was an aha moment afterwards. But it's just beautiful, this divine alignment of this Christ consciousness, because what it was actually a Christ consciousness message channeled through her to me to do this, which just naturally occurred upon hearing the message. So it's all in divine accordance, and there's a reason for all of it. But I also see with this card being the Strength card and coming out of your own waters, like coming out of the emotions that held you back, essentially. Like what emotions held you back or kept you so scared to be who you truly are. And you're facing that within yourself. It's like you have a mirror up to yourself, but here it's represented by water. And you're looking at your own reflection, but really ultimately what it is your own set of emotions that have been so deep rooted within yourself, and you're identifying them, therefore shining light on them, allowing them to open up in a sense, so that way it becomes balanced and glides through. So that way you can come out of your own basic, I guess, timeout that you put yourself in. But this wasn't like, it wasn't even you putting yourself into this. This was, like I said, it was all in divine accordance. So your hermit mode, your dark night of the soul, your own persecution per se wasn't your own. It was all in divine accordance to make you this beautiful, majestic, strong being, this very intuitive, divinely guided and led and so self-assured soul, that it had to make you into this to become the warrior that you are. And so, yeah, a lot of you are coming out of this like dark night of the soul persecution period and releasing yourself from your own bondages that you place that you perceive as your own, but they weren't. And that's not in a way to give it a victim mentality, like the universe did this to me. No, this was something that you agreed upon in order to advance the ascension of the multiverse. So it's not, don't perceive it in a manipulative way, just perceive it in a way of unconditional love, because ultimately that's what it is. And I'm seeing you rescuing a lot of souls by coming into your own strength. This alone, it helps the collective so much more than you could ever understand. Yeah, Knight of Swords. This is you, very not afraid and ready to cut through the bullshit and seeing everything for what it is, because you're a divine channel. You've mastered this. That's why you've gone through this period of stagnation, was to reclaim all that is of your clarity, of your sight, and to cut through the crap, to cut through everything that was the lesson, to get to the lesson, and to basically master the lesson. And now you're ready, okay? You're fierce, you're ready, you're here for your mission. And because I'm reading for both the divine feminine and divine masculine right now, take it how it resonates. This might be a period that you're working through right now, as I'm getting a lot of transformation and healing right now for the collective. But ultimately, this is what it's leading up to. So this is spirit basically giving you some answers here for free. It's almost like, you know, your teacher gives you the multiple choice answers on a test that you've been wanting to know so incredibly bad. And it's like you're going to receive more and more of these pieces of information and validation for understanding yourself and trusting yourself, because that in itself was the ultimate test. And now that you've surpassed this test, now you are able to see somewhat into the future and what will be happening. So it's a beautiful divine gift that the multiverse is presenting to you through this card. Okay, and you're also here, you're very aware of your emotions. You're very assured of your emotions, and you're very aware of your own inner light that you hold, and how important, but also how profound this knowledge and this light is that you hold. And this also amps up your confidence, because now you've gotten a hold on your emotions and you trust your inner light and you trust your guidance that much more. So if you haven't experienced this yet, divine feminines or divine masculines, again, this is spirit reiterating that this is what is occurring. And that's beautiful. We have a seahorse here, but it's really interesting because through this horse we have a representation of not only Pegasi but also Arcturus. So those constellations might be very significant for you. And we do have both male and female present here, both equally balanced and able to heal and communicate telepathically, not only with each other, but also through the water, and also healing the water. I'm hearing like the water needs healed as well. So when you heal your own inner waters, you're also helping to heal the earth's waters, and vice versa. When you heal the earth's waters, which you'll just innately know how to do, you're also healing your own internal, eternal waters. But I'm seeing like a high connection to oceanic creatures, horses, I mean animals of all kinds, but you're going to be able to heal them easier, and they're going to be drawn to your energy more, and you're going to have more information on how to do this. Temperance is all about balance. We have that in the reverse, and that's where, you know, we had the Hierophant in the reverse. The King of Wands was looking too much in the future. The Hierophant, the feminine, she wasn't trusting her intuition. Well, now she has, okay, and now she's receiving a lot, but it's asking her to get back into balance, because there is some imbalance here. And to trust if you're clairaudient, divine feminines, if you're clairaudient divine feminines, this is a huge message to trust the messages that you're hearing through your ears clairaudiently. Okay, so not just telepathy, but if you have that gift, like this is a divine message, it won't resonate for all of you, but for some of you, if you have that divine gift of clairaudience, or your gift is stronger in that area, to bring back balance to this, because it might get louder and louder as spirit is trying to get your attention, and to just bring this into balance. And you know a way divinely within your gut, divinely within your solar plexus, and within your heart on how to bring this back into balance. And also connecting with seashells would be very important here, as she's almost playing a game of telephone with herself with these conch shells. And so it's interesting. I do have a conch shell over here, but I'm not going to pick it up at this time. But to really connect, listen to it, listen to the ocean, listen to the messages that you receive. Every living thing on this planet carries its own divine frequency and vessel of consciousness. And so it's important to respect and honor that. And if it's being presented to you and it resonates for you, to connect with it, okay? That will help to just naturally bring everything back into balance. And then we have the Hermit in the reverse, which means you are coming out of this Hermit period. The more that you trust yourself, the more that you trust the knowledge that you're receiving and the guidance and the wisdom and your inner strength, the more it will help you to come out of this Hermit. Trust your own light. Be the light for yourself. When there is no light there from anybody else, be it for yourself, because you hold a strong enough light to do that. If you hold strong enough light for the planet and you being here on this mission, you definitely sure as hell have enough light to guide yourself, to honor yourself, to show the way for yourself. See, Page of Wands, holding the same globe of light and honoring that, okay? Recognizing that power that you hold. Recognizing that divine direction that's being presented to you, that's lighting the way for you. Okay, so big messages here. So I'm going to pull just a few more cards here. I think what we'll do actually, let's pull a couple of my own deck. I have the Mystical Flames Oracle deck created by me. I'm in the process, like I said, of making one with more of my divine art with the similar messages. So if you're interested in this deck, it will look pretty much the same. That those cards just flew out. Let's go see what they are. Definitely stay tuned for that. Okay, the one that flew on the upright just now is because there were 3 cards that flew out, and 3 is represented by the Holy Trinity as well, which we were talking about in the beginning. But we are made of stardust, we are starseeds, and we communicate with telepathy. And we have the rainbow there that represents unity. It's the skins of all colors, of all races coming together and merging as one and seeing each other as each other's soul, rather than the physicality that you represent through the skin color, through the human body, or through looks. And honoring the soul of each being, okay? And understanding that we are all one soul, okay? So your energy is fluid. And what were we talking about? We were talking about water and connecting with the divine attunement of water, the conduit of water. If you're interested in working with water more, or just tapping into your own empowerment more, or your ultimate abundance, I highly recommend my Abundance Manifestation Mastermind course, using the conduit of water. It's where I really trusted my ancestors. I trusted my higher beings of light, my Arcturian guide. My main guide is Arcturian. And I channeled these significant ways of connecting with the water to help you to really increase your manifestation skills, to help you to increase the light within yourself and to emanate that out more, and how to work with this energy just like you would with water, and using the water as an emphasizer to really help you to anchor in these manifestations and abundance as well, in all shapes and forms. So if that's something that interests you, I will leave that course down in the description box below, and message me. You can find me on Instagram or through my email. I'll list those below as well, and I will provide you a coupon off towards that. So even if you're just interested and you wanted a coupon, let me know, and I would be more than happy to send that to you. But it will really benefit you a lot, and especially with these messages that I'm channeling in for this reading. If you're tuned into this reading specifically, and my last reading too, this message also came through, to definitely check out that course, because I really do feel it will strengthen a lot of your innate abilities that you already have, just add an added oomph to them, and you will see an increase in funds, and you will see an increase in anything that you're looking to manifest, because you do hold that magic within inside of you. And these are different tricks, and I wouldn't even say tricks, they're just energy work that has been forgotten about for so long, that is just now recently re-emerging, and it re-emerged through my consciousness and through my beings, that I want to share and offer to you. So take that how you will. If that resonates, if that's something you're interested in, check it out. If not, that's okay. If you wanted to, like I said, message me, and I would be willing to work with you there. And I also offer payment plans, so keep that in mind as well. Now we have third eye vision sharing. I can visit you and see you through bilocation. So this isn't just, telepathy. This is also moving and working with that energy body, just like you would with water, and knowing how to construct this in a way to where you can literally travel all throughout the globe. You can connect your third eyes by sharing visions, and you can visit each other through the allowance of working with your light body to traverse through the multiverse to your own soul, basically, because your twin flame is your own soul. So it's allowing you to do this, and your energy right now is very, very fluid, so it'd actually be easier for both of you to connect at this time, is a message that I'm receiving in that way. All right, so to complete this reading, I am going to pull some signs and then some letters. Balance is a big message here. Big message, especially for the divine feminines. We have every time a song plays, I think of you. That's showing itself to me here. So we have Aries, so this person could be in Aries. Now, like I always say and reiterate, if I do not pull your person's sign, it does not mean that it's not your person. It just simply means that it's whoever it is you're thinking about, and the sign just simply wasn't pulled. As simple as that. We have Libra and Aquarius. Also, sometimes this person could have some of these qualities and not necessarily these signs within their natal chart, but they could also have it throughout their natal chart, or just the qualities of these signs too. So keep that also in mind. We have Capricorn, and we have a double Aries, which is number 11, which is actually the ultimate twin flame number. And we have 1111 here represented through the two ones with the two Aries, so they could be a double Aries sun and moon. And we also have Aquarius represented with 11, so we do have 1111 here. So it is a divine portal number. It's also a divine number representing magic, balance, and the twin flame mirroring here. We have 10 representing completion and rebirth again. We have master number 77 again. This number, the number 777, actually is the number of Christ, which I just found out. So 777 is the number of Christ. I will insert that here so you can read about it. So that's significant, and it's a number of infinite wisdom and enlightenment, knowledge, and magic. We also have Pisces here, and the 12 does break down to a 3. So that's again balance, and the Holy Trinity represented through this reading again. Okay, so they're all water signs, which doesn't surprise me. All those, it's 11:11 now on my phone. When I just looked up, it was 1:11:11. So 1 hour, 11 minutes, 11 seconds upon pulling the water. And there's a plane going by. So reiterating, all water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, and the water consciousness definitely came through. And then we have a double Pisces here, so they could be a Pisces sun and moon. I actually am a Pisces sun and moon, so that's very interesting. We also have 1212, which adds to 33. And 33 is the ultimate number of enlightenment. It's the highest degree in Freemasonry, and it's also the number, the age. 33 is the age of Jesus when he ascended, when he was crucified and ascended. So that is the age, and so it does represent a lot coming through. And I did receive a divine channeled message about Saint Christopher, so I won't be getting into that within this reading, but I will be speaking about it soon. But this reading is already long enough, and yeah. We have 777. I kid you not, 777 just flew out. So we have a Leo, which is 5, and then we have 3 Libras and the 777. So I guess I will speak about St. Chris, as the 3 has been presented to me. So I'll just speak on this really, really quick, and then I'll pull some letters and numbers. But basically what happened was I was doing a reading for a lady that reached out to me. Actually, it's actually kind of divine how it all happened. She makes jewelry, and I've talked about her before on my channel. It's at Toto 0218. Her name's Dorothy. She's amazing. She makes her own handmade crystal jewelry, and she had made me a bracelet, intuitively pulled charms. They were all in sync with my spirit animals and every symbol that's very, resonant for me. But I was drawn to a post of hers where she posted a bunch of different charms for a necklace, and one of them was the 3, which is the Om symbol. And I was divinely drawn to that, and I circled it, I DM'd her, and I was like, I need to have this, how much for this? And we made an agreement that she would love a reading with me, so we did an even exchange with that. So she made me a little set and I did a reading for her, and what was very interesting is she had channeled the number 3 through the number 21, which is also very significant because 1221 represented that date of ultimate Christ consciousness knowledge influx and expansion where all the planets aligned, right? We had that divine alignment that we hadn't had in thousands of years. And then also, I keep seeing 1221 on the clock. Not only that, that's 33 if you add it together. It's also a palindrome where the numbers mirror each other. What's the twin flame? That's mirroring. The whole consciousness through the water reflection and knowing your own awareness and consciousness was, you know, spoken about in this reading. And it represents the twin flame, always mirroring one another. But what's also significant about 21 is that it's also the number of the equinox. So we just had the equinox on the 21st as well. So reiterating that, but the 21 adds to 3. It's her favorite number. The reason I reached out to her was because I saw the number 3. So that was divine. The reason that she wanted an exchange for a reading was because she actually had Saint Christopher come to her at 3 a.m. Without getting too much into it, because I don't want to divulge too much information, but basically what that represents is 3 a.m. represents the Holy Trinity, the Father, Son, Holy Ghost, right? So when I did research into Saint Christopher, because I didn't know much about him, I actually found out that he was 7'7". 77 again, so representing that Christ conscious number. Very tall in stature, very strong, and he helped those across the river, and he actually helped carry Jesus Christ across the river. And when he was carrying Jesus, he was told by God that he was literally carrying the weight of the world. Okay? And so it's very significant here. I feel like a lot of starseeds feel that way, like they hold this responsibility of the knowledge that they receive and the channelings that they receive, and they feel like they're carrying the weight of the world because these topics can be judged, they can be reprimanded, they can be disrespected if spoken in a certain way. We have all these rules and litigations around sharing information, especially when it comes to higher channelings, when it comes to really significant people of our past. So it can be quite scary. We feel like we're carrying the weight of the world because we feel like everyone's judging us and everyone, you know, is waiting for us to do something that they're against so that they can reprimand us. It's almost like that fear of the crucifixion, right? It's so embedded within us, I feel, for a lot of us starseeds. But not only that, we feel this very strong way of feeling like we have to carry the weight of the world. So we feel responsible for everyone's feelings, emotions, being. We just want everyone to feel safe, and we want to help the planet, and we literally feel like we have this whole responsibility to fix the planet at this time. So carrying the weight of the world. So that was also significant. Well, here when I did more research, upon further research of Saint Christopher, I believe it was Pope Paul the 4th, the 5th, or the 6th. I'll have to research it again. I'm not the best at Roman numerals. I think it might be the 6th or the 4th. I'll insert it here. But he basically discounted the whole story about Saint Christopher carrying Jesus across the river because he claimed that he didn't have enough history backing that up, so he dropped him. He dropped him from being a saint. So why is that significant? It's highly significant because what did Saint Chris never do, especially for Christ? He didn't drop anyone in that river. It was actually his most entitled responsibility to carry these souls across the river and make sure they're safe, right? So it went against everything that he represents in his whole entire life, his whole entire story, his whole entire will and being as a starseed here with a mission to literally carry the Son of God, the whole weight of the world in his hands across this river. And then it's completely discounted and discredited and dropped, which was the main thing that he was never, ever, ever going to do for any soul that approached him. So that is significant. So the reason he came through at 3 a.m. for her was to validate through the number of the Holy Trinity that he did in fact carry Jesus Christ across that river. And he understood through the Word of God that he was the weight of the world. He was carrying the weight of the world. He was carrying the Messiah. He was carrying the one who had a very huge starseed mission. And St. Chris also carried a huge starseed mission to make sure that this divine being was able to make it alive across this river. And so he came through very angry, very upset, very hurt. And so when I channeled this message, it totally, lined up with everything that we had been receiving. And she knew the connection here. She knows he's one of her guides, and but she wasn't able to piece the message together, and that's why this all divinely played out in the way that it did, to be able to understand the symbolism of the number 3, to connect with St. Christopher's message and the story that he had to share. And how the story was discredited, and he had to make it known that no, it's not true. He did, in fact, it is true that he did, in fact, carry Jesus across the river, and it isn't true that it didn't happen. It did happen, and he's very angry about this. So he wanted to come through, and a lot of ascended masters and divine beings have been channeling through. A lot of people recently, divine souls that are meant to channel these things, but they all happen divinely. And I had to share that message and get it out there because it's all leading up into Easter. And these are messages pertaining around Christ. And it's very important that we share these when we receive them. Okay, so without getting too much into, her reading and everything else, that was a huge message that St. Christopher wanted to deliver. And let it be known to the world that it did in fact happen, and he did in fact protect Jesus and carry him across that river to his safety. So, and represented through his stature, even the 7 foot 7 inches, the divine number of 77, and that 777 of the number of Christ that I've been seeing left and right. Everyone has. If you've been on my Instagram, you've either messaged me or you've seen that number pop up left and right. So it's all divine accordance. And yes, so we're going to pull some letters here. Okay, so it's interesting. The letter N fell, but it landed like a Z. And a client of mine actually just recently took my light language mastermind course. So if you've been wanting to connect to light language or speak it, draw it, use it in your healing practices, it's just higher dimensional consciousness used as a higher channeled frequency to heal and to allow activations to occur and to be used to anchor in new earth. So, but she had sent me a beautiful message of light language that she had just drawn actually right after taking my course, and she hadn't been able to before, but one of the symbols of her light language was in fact a Z. And the Z in her symbol was actually representing balance, as it showed a dot here and a dot here, the yin and the yang, the divine feminine, the divine masculine. So it's like a mirror, right? And it's, if you cut it in half, it does look like 2 triangles coming together. So 2 portals, coming together. And what is the mirror? The mirror is also the portal. So we have the number in as well. If you turn this on its side, we have in. So I feel like we are in a portal. We also have the number N, or we have the letters end here. So end. We have teepees. I think this is representing the triangle. It's also like the pyramid shapes. I've been getting the letter A left and right. And we have AA, which would represent Archangel. So perhaps archangels coming through. I think Gabriel was very important in the healing of Jesus when he was actually a little boy. He became quite ill. I'm getting the letters F-E-A, but I'm getting fear. So to overcome fear. Yeah. The letter go. To not be afraid of like mistakes, to trust to trust yourself, your independence. And these could also be initials of your person as well, or different phrases you could put from the letters. So like I said, I will zoom in so you can take a good look at these. But end fear, we have end fear. In Archangel I go, or in the knowing that you are a divine template of the angels, you go on forth with your mission to prove you're not separate, but you are determined. You're not separate, but you are determined. You're determined to bring in unity, okay? Unity consciousness. So message coming through. Connect with crystals for sure, especially amethyst this month, because they're wanting you to connect in with these divine messages, especially around Easter time. So starting right now and even sometime after Easter, even if that's not the exact time that it happens, I feel like it is. But if you feel like it wasn't and you feel like it's a different time, trust that. And just work with amethyst to allow these higher waves of consciousness to flow through you, so you can receive, the messages that you're needing to at this time. I'm going to go ahead and roll some dice here and just see what numbers we get. I like to do this while I do the pendulum, so I'll let the pendulum go here. And if you want to ask a question and just see what your answer will be while I figure out these numbers. Okay, so we have master number 22. We have the number 5 representing change, which just turned over to a 3. Let me see if I can find. Yeah, 5. We have the number 4. We have the divine number 11. We actually have 44 here, so master number 44. We also have master number 55. We have master number 111, which is highly significant for me. We also have the number 111 here. It almost turned over. 1111 and 111. That's the divine twin flame number. It says try again, so we're gonna try it again. We have master number 50, which also breaks down to a 5, so that could also be 555. We have the number 12, and 12 could be significant. I think it's representing like 2012, which was the divine time of most of the majority of the awakenings towards this age of Aquarius that's taking place right now here on Earth at this time. But 12 also breaks down to the number 3, which again is a representation of the Holy Trinity. And then we have another one. Holy cow. So we have 11111. So that's 3 ones. So a change of twin flame dynamic here. And we have the yes reiterating that. And also it's pertaining to your question that you asked. If you asked a question, the answer is yes. And it landed on the pink there. And then we also have number 30. And 30 also breaks down to a 3. So we have, again, master number 33, which is very divine because, again, that's the age that Jesus Christ was crucified and ascended. And then we also have the number 6. And what else is 6? 6 also breaks down to 3 plus 3. Again, 33, representing that Holy Trinity, representing the age of Christ. And we have 33 here as well. So if those numbers resonate for you, there is divine messages attached to those numbers. Sometimes it comes in codes, sometimes it comes in waves of frequency or resonance within your solar plexus. The soul just knows, just recognizes, but you can also Google these and just trust the message that you're drawn to, as it will hold a message from Spirit divinely for you, pertaining to the number that resonates for you the most. I love you all so incredibly much. Thank you so much for tuning in today, for watching, for liking, for subscribing. Thank you for all the new subscribers. I'm so excited about it. Definitely jump along. We have so much fun here. Come aboard, as we always hear the train. And the train is a huge message from Spirit, but we're definitely moving forth on our trains to higher consciousness.
And yeah, any of my readings that I offer, if you're drawn to my energy, you wanted a reading with me, I offer love readings, I offer Starseed Origins readings. Those are my most two popular, and my light language course and my abundance course are my most popular as well. So check those out. But I do offer crystal healings, light language activations, and all of that good stuff will be listed in the description box down below. Definitely check it out. Thank you so much again for tuning in. Definitely leave a comment below letting me know how any of these messages resonated for you, if you've been receiving similar messages or guidance or higher consciousness influxes coming through. I love you all so incredibly much, and until next time, I will talk to you soon. Bye guys.